to me, how's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. Hey, everybody, we are into January. We're into the thick of it already. And oh my God, is this one a good one? Thanks to Sharp Tone Records. Oh yeah, I said that. Before we jump into the podcast, I want to thank our sponsor, which is Phoenix Fitness. Yep, we are into January of 2023. Yes, I know there are a lot of people out there like New Year's resolutions, everything. You know what I call it? I call it getting mosh pit fit. Yeah, you guys know me. I love going into mosh pits like crazy. So in order to make sure that I can continue to go to mosh pits and do my favorite things, which is throw down and not leave the pit the entire time, I got to make sure I'm hitting the gym. I got to make sure I'm doing as much cardio as I can, weightlifting, and find that balance that works for myself to achieve my fitness goals. However, I got to make sure preparing and recovering right, because that's a huge part of it as well, to make sure that I can continue this day in and day out. And that's where Phoenix Fitness comes in with many different supplements to help you achieve your fitness goals. They have different protein blends such as whey protein, collagen protein, plant-based protein, all that kind of stuff in order to make sure you get the best protein supplements into yourself. I use the whey protein because, ooh, is it good. Also, they have different pre-workouts, both stim and stim-free, to make sure you get, the best energy going for your workout. I use the stim-free stuff because you guys know how much energy I have in this podcast. I really don't need any more, so I use the stim-free stuff. They also have different B-cell recovery compounds to help you recover directly after workout, get the B-cells back in your muscles. Different creatines, multivitamins, anything you might need to achieve your fitness goals. Phoenix Fitness has for you. Our listeners get 20% off using the code CPP20 at PhoenixFitness.com. Link is in the description of the podcast. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Now, our feature presentation, I want to thank Jessica from Sharp Tone Records, because she brought us some great bands. She brought us the Gloom in the Corner. And now, this band with us today, Dead Lakes. We have Summy from Dead Lakes here on the podcast with us. And Summy, we know his friends. They've been on the podcast. You know Benny from Avoid. You know James from 1,000 Below. Yeah, Summy comes in and he just picks up right where these guys have left off. The band has a brand new single called Stamina, which is out now. We go deep into it. Its meaning around different relationships, the emotion it brings out, and how fantastic of a song it is. We also talk about putting yourself in uncomfortable positions to get the most out of life, to have those experiences, and how all of these experiences, all these emotions that you go through in life, putting yourself in experience, having those positive experiences, really shape who you are as a person, shape your musical taste, and really get you to understand so much about yourself for such a positive way. This is just positive energy through and through. It's not dead, it's positive, but it is dead because it's Dead Lakes. Are you guys ready? Because I am. Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, I want to give a big thank you to Jessica from Sharp Tone Records for saying, hey, make sure you check out these guys who want to bring on the podcast. When I saw the name, I'm like, I've seen this name before. I think our friend Benny Scholl from Avoid has brought those guys out on tour at some point, and then seeing what they've been doing, they've been on the road with Benny and Avoid. They've been on the road with 1,000 Below. We have 1,000 Below on the podcast too. So these guys have to have good music, and you listen to it and you're like, oh my God, this is great. Their brand new song, Stamina, is out now for you guys to go check out. I suggest you do, but you do that after listening to this podcast. So please welcome Summy from the band Dead Lakes to the podcast. So Summy, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Oh, what's up, Kevin? Thank you so much for having us. First off, this is really cool. Again, a couple of our friends have been on here. So anytime that our friends are on a show, I definitely get a little FOMO and I want to be on there too. So thank you so much for having me, for real.
Well, we are going to clear that FOMO out right away by doing this. We're going to have a blast. But as we start out, how has everything been going on your end, man? I mean, we're looking at the beginning of 2023, going into 2023, full head of steam. You guys look like you're poised, ready to go. So just how has everything been going on your end?
It's going really good. We've been hard at work on a record, and it's going to be coming out sometime relatively soon. So it'll be cool because with the pandemic and everything, man, it just really slowed things down for a few years. So it's cool. I think that this is going to be, the wind in our sails, and we're going to be able to keep rocking this thing out for a minute. But everything's going great with Dead Lakes right now. So we got a great team behind us. And like you said, you mentioned Jessica earlier, and we met her at a show. What was the first show we met her at? I can't remember. I think it was 1,000 Below show. And then she came out to the Avoid show too. And she's so cool. She works with Sharp Tone. And she's just such a wonderful human being and just wanted to hang out and just chill. So yeah, big shouts out to her and our whole team. Our manager's incredible. And yeah, we're thankful. lots of good shit going on.
Lots of good shit going on, and that's a good way to recap 2022. You know, you get to meet Jessica, you guys get to go on the road with Thousand Below, get to go on the road with The Void, get to have some fun doing that. New music coming out. I mean, you guys literally have yourself poised, like you said, new record coming out at some point in 2023. You guys are poised to really take what you have with that momentum going now and continue to snowball into something even bigger and better. And it's just the more people get a chance to listen, the more people get a chance to find out who Dead Lakes is, what that sound is like, and how that connects with them. I mean, it's a massive hit. And I was taking a look at, like, you know, the for fans of it, I was like, Thousand Below and Dayseeker. It seems like they were both just out on the road with Bad Omens. So if you went to the Bad Omens show and you like any of those two bands, which you probably went to that show or you really wanted to go to that show, if you like any of those two bands, hell, if you like Bad Omens too, go check out Dead Lakes. There's going to be something where you're going to be like, oh my God, I want to listen to more of this. And when are they going on the road? Because I got to see this live.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, I think seeing us live is definitely where like it'll get confirmed for people that they want to check it out. I think, you know, in the scene that we've grown up in, it's very like post-hardcore, metalcore oriented, and we've just always had a tough time kind of fitting in with that stuff, but that's always been all of our homies and all of our friends' bands. So I think when you see us live, you see that we have like, we can match that energy in like a more pop oriented outfit, I guess. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah, definitely check us out if you like all those bands, and you know, show your girlfriend or your boyfriend who likes pop stuff, our band, and you know, we might be that fun little surprise light band or the guilty pleasure band. So
well, I mean, did you guys have the tagline, your girlfriend's favorite band as well?
dude, yeah, we just like to say really dumb shit. Like that's kind of our thing, is like we just want to say outlandish shit that we regret having to face in person contact with, you know. We had somebody else, we just played a festival in Seattle, and they go, "Oh yeah, you're the band that says like your favorite or your girlfriend's favorite band on your Spotify." And we all were like, immediately just had our hands over our faces, like, yeah, yep, that's us. That's us. We just thought it'd be funny as shit just because we're so used to getting shit on for being a light band. So we just kind of try to roll with it and turn it into something good for us. And we thought it'd be funny. But, you know, we could be everybody's favorite guilty pleasure band.
Oh, absolutely. But even speaking about that as well, having more of a little bit of a lighter touch, sometimes a little bit more of that like pop touch to your guys' sound as well. Take a look at a lot of the bands that I think fans of a lot of these other bands could really get into. I said Thousand Below. I said Dayseeker. You can throw bands like Caskets, Holding Absence. You can throw you can throw Rain City Drive in there as well. And just listening to that and seeing the tours that these bands have gone on as well as of late. I mean, Holding Absence, they did a whole entire split EP with Alpha Wolf, for crying out loud. And sick. Look at how well that worked. Thousand Below and Dayseeker were on tour with Bad Ones and Make Them Suffer, and that tour sold out before it even started. Who else? Rain City Drive. I saw him on tour with Memphis May Fire and From Ashes to New, and it fit perfectly in there. So it's just the energy you guys bring on stage is really going to be the driving factor behind it. And listening to the music, I'm like, these guys could easily do this. So it's all going to be a matter of, you guys have the music behind it. You guys have the sound behind it. You guys have the charisma behind it. It's all about just, let's get you guys in the right spot so that people can see this live. Video can be taken of this live, and everyone can just say, well, either I am really glad I went to go and see them and got my ticket, or now I gotta wait till the next time. Why?
So sweet. You're such a nice person. Yeah. I don't know. We got to get on the road. You know, I think when we get on the road, it'll really encapsulate people, and people will love it. And yeah, dude. Okay, you said Memphis May Fire. It's really funny. I went to college in Arizona at this like recording arts school called Crass, and I was just like, I was from like a rural town and I moved to like the big city, you know? And so all these tour packages are coming through. So almost every night I'm like going to like the Nile, and, you know, what else was popping at that time? There's quite a few little spots, but I saw Memphis May Fire at the underground of the Nile. And I was like this metalcore kid. Like I just loved all that stuff. So like, it was crazy seeing them like in such a small little place. Yeah, that shit was so wild. But yeah, like we can fit in anywhere energy wise. And we've always kind of known, like, you know, you as any band will say, I've heard like a lot of people talk kind of like business chops on here. And you know, for me, like any band will say, you got to work with what you have and like with the audience and people around you. And we all grew up in this scene, and you know, we grew up with bands like Avoid, and then you've got the Home Team, and then you have like For the Likes of You, which is like a super heavy band from out here. Like the people don't really care about necessarily like they care about the quality of the music and the quality of the people and the quality of the performance. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're always excited to rip up anything, and we love always playing. Like we grew up in the DIY like kind of hardcore scene. I booked our first couple tours as Dead Lakes, and I was in a band called Spirit. Like all we did was DIY tour like all the time. And you always end up playing like with a bunch of hardcore bands, and you're always going to be the lightest band. And it's fun going into those shows. And I've always just made it part of my banter. Like, yo, we're the heaviest fucking band. I want to see the shit go side to side right now. Like, it's fun to start that shit off, and then you just come in with some twinkly cute shit. So.
I mean, just hearing that story and hearing that sentiment, you guys definitely, and yourself, you guys grew up around all these bands, and even on the lighter side as well, you put yourself on this. You guys are basically at home at this point. You guys know exactly what to do. You guys know how to drive off the energy of the crowd, and you know how to have so much fun with it to the point where everyone's going to watch you and say, they might not have really like stylistically fit on the bill, but my God, were they fun, and were they maybe the highlight of the show? Because I even have some of those moments where I remember earlier this year was Kublai Khan and Knocked Loose were on a tour together. I'm like, okay, this fits. In between them in the package was Movement. So I'm like, this makes no freaking sense. But from that whole entire show, what I remember was how much fun Movement's set was. So you guys are in the perfect position, and you guys already are in the perfect like mindset to take care of this stuff and to go so far forward with it where I don't think anyone is going to be able to just like say, oh no, we're not a Dead Lakes fan for this show. They're going to be like, we need to know more. We need to listen to these guys more. And where the hell's the merch table? I need me a shirt.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, that tour definitely like looking at you're like, whoa, Movements, but like thinking about like who's playing first and then Movements, it makes so much sense. Like I don't know. They also have like that cool guy stamp of approval, from the scene where like hardcore kids like scene kids like you could be into any genre in this general scene and you like Movements, but like they make sense to kind of break up that night. It's really, I don't know. I love anytime you mention a band, I'm gonna have a story. But Kublai Khan, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. And they were on tour with a band called Alters, which is like a band that was on like Face Down Records. And this is when Kublai Khan had just released like their first record, and oh man, they were like my favorite band at the time. But they came through. I'm literally from the middle of nowhere, the four corners of Colorado. Like I lived in the Colorado part, but Denver's 7 hours away. Phoenix is 6 hours away. 6.5 hours away. Salt Lake City's 6 hours away. Albuquerque's 4 hours away. So it's really the middle of nowhere. But for some reason, like they kept being able to get like these hardcore bands to come through our little area. It was just like a perfect little stopping point. But I saw Kublai Khan like play a floor show to like 40 people in this like cold warehouse. Like when they were like still in the stage of a band where they were like, man, this shit's tough. Like, do we want to keep doing this shit? And then they just fucking exploded. Like, but it took like another few years after that. And then they like really exploded. But it was so cool to be able to like see them at that size. It was so raw, dude. And oh, it was so cool. But yeah, they played Shiprock, New Mexico, which is on the Navajo reservation. Shouts out AJ and all my people in Shiprock that really instilled a dream in me for real. So that shit was crazy. But being this close to Matt and he's just like spitting in your face and it's a floor show and their guitarist kicks you in the chest, that shit was tough, man. So thank you for bringing up Kublai Khan because that band is crazy.
My God, anytime I'm going to bring up a band, there's going to be some epic story. So I start like rattling off band names, and some of you are just going to be like, I got this story, I got this story, I got this story. And it's just going to be this mass long podcast of how cool of stories Summy has. And then on top of it, at the end, it's going to be like, oh, well, what cool stories are we going to get from Dead Lakes coming forward? But we'll get to that in a different point.
But that's the exciting part about it to me is like, I know like where those memories hold a place in my heart. And so I just get excited at the fact that, oh, that could be us for somebody else. Like one day, like that's exactly why we do this shit. Like a lot of bands our size, still aren't making money. We've been doing it for, lots of bands have been doing it for so many years. And you like have to ask yourself, like, why do they keep doing it? And it's because of that, man. It's because of the stories that people can leave with the way that you impacted them, like, I don't know, like I'll never forget some of the ways that a lot of other bands have impacted me. And that's why we do it. So I thank you for saying that, because I hope that happens for other
Oh, I
people
feel
too.
like it has happened, but I want to ask this question to you as well, just around this sort of topic, because you've been a band for quite a while as well. You've been doing this for quite a while. Have you ever had that experience where maybe someone has come up to you personally and has told you that you have delivered that experience for them, so that it's like, you're doing it to somebody, even if it's just one person at a show? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, 100%. It's the most humbling thing every time. And the imposter syndrome in me says, no, it can't be. This is like, like this person's just gassing you up or whatever. But it has happened enough times to where, like, I know, wow, okay, watching my idols growing up make that impact on me. I didn't think anybody could be genuine coming up to me saying that stuff. And it means the absolute world. It blows my mind. I'm a dude working a 9 to 5 still, and all that. Like, I'm just another person, and it's cool to be able to impact another person that way. Like, it's mind blowing.
And you're giving that positive impact to that person that you got from all these other bands that we've already talked about, Kublai Khan, Memphis Affair, so many other ones. And it's something where, I mean, and I do this myself as well, in those times where things are just not going well, or life's a little bit of a struggle, maybe your girlfriend broke up with you, or just your job absolutely sucks, or just life just seems like it's kind of going down. We all, like, for myself, I go back to the music that made me feel the happiest at certain points, because I can listen to it and, maybe even close my eyes, maybe keep my eyes open, but I can relate the sound to a feeling that I experienced maybe when I saw that band live, and nothing else mattered except for what was right in front of me, the performance that was going on, and how good I felt just to let go of any sort of worry, because I was just at such a happy point. Like, you guys are giving that experience to so many people that might be going through some terrible things. You're giving them that relief of just, things can be okay. I can let some of this stuff go, and whatever happens, life is still going to go on, and I can carry on in a positive way, because I remember what it feels like, because I got to see this band live and they gave me that feeling.
Yeah, no, exactly. You hit it on the head there. Like, sometimes we get trapped up in, like, really sad emotions, or we just can't shake, like, a depressive phase or whatever the case is. But those things do bring you back to moments that make you realize, okay, this is just a moment. This is just a part of life, because I know that I've gone through ebbs and flows in a roller coaster, and these things have made me feel so happy at points. I feel that same way. That's the same reason why you can't listen to some records though at the same time, because they remind you of the tough times. But yeah, for some reason, I just got those out there. The record that comes to my head is that Forever the Sickest Kids record. Uh, I don't know. It's like their first record or whatever, or it's the one that, like, Tom Lord Alge mixed. It's their big one, and that just brings back the happiest memories for me of all time. And, like, I could be in the worst place, and you play that record, I'm like, oh shit, things could be chill, things could be cool.
Oh, I totally understand that too. For me, that record is always going to be The Suffer and the Witness by Rise Against. No matter what, it's just, I can just get as, like, angry as possible. Just listen to good old punk rock. I'm like, I remember, shit's going to be good no matter what the hell's happening. Put that on, spin it, have a blast. But yeah, you are right. There are also some other records or some other songs where it is hard to listen to, because you have certain, sometimes negative emotions attached to them. Maybe they're like the feeling of the song, the way it's produced, reminds you of a time where things were not that good. But I also look at that as a positive as well, in a certain way, because now you have a way to tangibly feel and tangibly show those emotions. What if you can't explain it to someone? You're like, well, what does it feel to go what you went through? Well, listen to the song, just feel it, and then you'll get an understanding of something of what it's like. You'll be able to pick up on that emotion. And for yourself as well, you can take a look at that. Yeah, it's going to remind you of some darker times, but if you're past those darker times, it will remind you how much further you've gone past that, how much stronger you are to get past that as well. And then whatever you're facing right now, it can't be as bad as what you just went through beforehand, and you've already got the strength behind it, because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, life is a culmination of your experiences. And I'm really thankful that in today's world, mental health is an important topic that gets brought up enough to where people are like, whoa, I need to check in with myself. So yeah, so what doesn't kill you can make you stronger. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it could go the other way as well, but yeah, 100% for in my case, that's definitely how I felt from everything that I've been through. And yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just so excited for future me. I love new music and stuff like that, and I love, that fresh feeling like when you're a kid and you just, everything's new. And when you become an adult, it becomes a little more monotonous, a little more mundane, to where when something is fresh, it just sticks out so well. And I think that's why some things stick in our memory so much, especially as like adults. So I'm just gonna end this little phrase by saying I'm excited for whatever the next fresh thing is that I hear and listen to that sticks with me forever. It's cool.
See, now I kind of want to dive into that, not just like what it might be, but just that concept as well, because now I'm starting to think about it, as a kid, when you have, just so many possibilities in front of you in life and you're learning so many different things, everything does seem fresh. You're trying these new things and everything seems so exciting. Whether it's the first time you jump in a puddle, whether it's the first time you just get to spend all day at a swimming pool and you get to throw your friends in like it's none other. Or,
Yeah.
you the first date you ever go on, like that's going to stick out in your brain because it's a brand new experience. But of course, as we get to be adults, there are certain things that happen. We do get into this more monotonous flow of just constantly doing the same thing. Humans are creatures of habit. They want to stick to that routine. So you do the
Yeah.
same things over and over again, and you get to experience that fresh kind of stuff less. And with music, you have the time to experience that more and more. There's always going to be new music coming out for you to feel that. Or for myself as well, it's, I'll go to concerts and whatever happens, happens. And some of the craziest stories I have in my entire life happened from shows that just, yeah, I wasn't expecting certain things to happen. I wasn't expecting it to start pouring rain and for the mud pit to be the mosh pit to be the muddiest,
Yeah.
slushiest thing ever. I wasn't expecting at one show a security guard to come to the pit to check it out what was going on and then join the pit and ask me to go one-on-one with him. I'm like, this is one of the greatest things ever. Let's go! I get to hit a security guard in a pit with no repercussions, and it was like, come on, how fresh is that? That sticks out so much in my mind. So
Yeah,
music
exactly.
gives you that ability to be a kid again in a way and experience so many different things and experience things in a fresh way constantly.
Yeah, 1000%. 1000%. I love everything you just said. That makes my heart so happy. That's like, yeah, that's literally what life is about. It's that whole thing too, that like, you got to put yourself in a position to be like to be out there, to be slightly uncomfortable, to experience something that's going to trigger that cool fresh memory, like I definitely have gone through like I think like 2 or 3 phases in my adult life that have felt very monotonous and routine oriented. And I will say, I actually have like a routine in my life right now that's really healthy, like a morning routine. But outside of that, like I really try to put intentionality into experiencing new things, trying new restaurants, or going and seeing maybe a movie I wouldn't see before, and seeing an artist I wouldn't see before. Or somebody just invites me out to something and I have no idea what I'm getting into, like I'm gonna be game. But that's so cool, dude. That's like literally what life is about. And that's why, again, another reason why I love doing this band thing, because you go on tour and almost every day is like that. You're putting yourself in a position to be uncomfortable because just by being in that van, traveling across the country, sleeping in, rest areas, Walmart parking lots and truck stops, like you're going to see some things, you're going to experience some things. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be cool. Like there are a few that stick out to me. Like I said, I've been touring forever. One time we played a CYC in Fresno, California. It's Chinatown Youth Center. And this was my old band, and this was years ago. And I tried food that was like, I've tried this before, like traveling abroad, but like, it was cool. We're in like a tough area of Fresno, and they're just cooking food out on a grill, like on the street outside of like the shop, like very raw. Like it wasn't like normal, like you'd expect. I know I sound crazy right now. Like, oh, this guy hasn't ever experienced anything like that. No, this is different. I don't know, but that was so cool and tough to me. And then like we play the show, and then later that night, there's like this homeless woman, singing like soul sort of music, and she had the most incredible voice. It blew my mind. It's probably like midnight in the tough part of Fresno, and this woman's just singing like loud, just and mainly to herself. She's not doing it for anybody else or whatever. And like growing up young and naive and not surrounded by like too much of that, it brings out like the inner you that wants to like, I don't know, make fun of somebody or whatever. But all I could do like was celebrate her and just be blown away by her voice. And I'll never forget that. It honestly changed a lot of my perspective in so many ways in such a interesting fresh moment. So I don't know, man. I love fresh moments.
I mean, you spoke it perfectly to the point where putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, not like all the time, but just to put yourself out there to where, yeah, it might be outside of your norm. It might be outside of your routine. But like you said, those times when you do that, those create some of the craziest, most memorable, most fresh stories in your brain to the point where, you know, you get to go out, you get to experience and see some random woman in the middle of the street in the bad part of Fresno singing some of the best soul music you could ever hear in your entire life. How else would you have done that if you would have just played it just very consistently and stuck in this same monotonous routine? You never would have had that. And then like your biggest experience would have been playing Boggle on a Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. Which, you know, shouts out Boggle, but
Yeah.
but yeah, you know, I I think there might be some more interesting things in life to experience, you know, and that is the cool thing about traveling in a touring band too, you know, just in the general sense. Like traveling in a touring band is like so much different than traveling in an RV, like as a family or, you know, experiencing things in such a, I don't know, it's like going to another country and staying in the resort the whole time, you know, like, I don't know, whenever I travel, I like to stay at like local spots, eat at local spots, experience local spots. Of course, some of the tourist stuff is fun and whatnot, but yeah, it's just all those things about embracing the culture around you, not putting up this guard of like, I'm not going to see the world in its rawest form. And yeah, man, I would much rather be in downtown Fresno, you know, or in the bad part of Fresno on a Friday night than playing Boggle, you know. But yeah, shouts out Boggle again. I don't want them to hate me, you know.
No, I was just using it as a allegory of like a comparison of just something that is very typical of just a normal staying in Friday night instead of something that is just going out and you never know what you might expect. That's what I was using it for.
I totally get it, and you know,
I'm doing that because if Boggle wants to sponsor me, I want that on the record.
Yeah, it's got to be real. It's got to be raw. So, I mean, with you being so honest and vulnerable there, I want to be honest and vulnerable and say, I don't want these people thinking that I always spend my time that way. I have a feeling that my life will mainly be spent, you know, touring and having these cool, fresh experiences. But I am soaking up the normie life because we as a band haven't really been on the road consistently. We hope to get there. We hope that that's like what the very near future looks like. But my time has been spent watching The Bachelor, Love Island, Bachelor in Paradise, The Bachelorette. So I do pretty typical normie Friday night stuff. I just have to be honest, and I would feel inauthentic if I didn't if I didn't say that. I do watch Survivor too, so I don't just watch, you know, the other ones. I don't want to lose all my street cred, but
oh, but again, another thing about that too is if you're constantly doing all those things that you're trying to put yourself in constantly comfortable positions, finding to be fresh, you know, then some of the stuff that seems normal or some of the stuff that's just, you know, in that normie style is going to seem fresh to you as well. It is finding that balance between being able to do things you enjoy and also put yourself in a comfortable position to have those experiences. But there's going to be times where, you know, you're going to feel burnt out by that. You're going to want to just maybe sit back and relax a bit, maybe save some money. And then boom, that's when you get to that stuff. And then you create memories doing that stuff as well. Basically, that whole entire tangent was just don't always do the same thing over and over and over and over again.
In everybody's life, there's going to be natural moments where you have the chance to stay in or say yes to going and doing something. And it's just about, you know, when those opportunities arise, saying yes, because there's going to be enough of the normal day-to-day stuff, you know? Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and one thing too, I was kind of thinking about that as well, is with that kind of an idea, with that kind of mindset, by potentially putting yourself in some of those somewhat uncomfortable positions where you're just not used to being in that, just kind of stepping out of your comfort zone and having some of those moments, that energy and that mindset has to be bleeding over into Dead Lakes music as well.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%. I had a lot of self-discovery before we wrote like or like just after we had done like the last EP, like through the whole pandemic, and all those new experiences and new feelings definitely bled into the music. And with this record, you'll definitely hear it. And I've been writing a lot of new stuff, and I'm very excited just for the future in a general sense because of those experiences. Like, I think you're gonna write. I don't know. It's definitely helped me write from a fresh perspective and stay up and not hit writer's block. So
See, and that's an important thing too, because that's in any sort of creative space, whether it's as a musician, whether it's just as a storyteller, as a writer, no matter what creative space you're in, if you don't have some of those fresh experiences, you're not going to be able to pick up on some of those emotions. You're not going to be able to think about those experiences, think about those different perspectives that you had. Maybe put yourself in the other person or somebody else's shoes and just really get this idea and take it from there. If you limit yourself to just this certain kind of mindset or this certain kind of space, you're not going to be able to break out of that space creatively. But if you expand it, you have those experiences, you're able to put yourself in other people's shoes, you're able to understand those different emotions. Now you're able to write and create so many different things, so many grander things. You never know where it's going to take you. And when it comes to music as well, you never know. You're going to have an idea of something, and all of a sudden, you're going to start working on it, start working on different riffs, different like drum patterns, and something might just click, and all of a sudden it might not be something that you were working on or just like be equivalent to that idea or equivalent to that emotion, but it might change your perspective on something. And now you have this whole entire inspiration for a brand new song, hell, brand new EP, brand new album, and it could be the absolute biggest hit in the world because you have the ability to relate to those experiences, relate to those emotions, and call back them at any given time.
yeah, 1000%. Yeah, all I could think about while you're talking too was about like me and our drummer. We both listened to our drummer Chon. Shouts out Chon. You go to Spotify and look up Ice Bath, and you'll find his solo music. It's crazy. Anyways, though, both me and him listen to really weird music. And especially like more as of late, like the last like year or so. And I don't know. Obviously, the word culture might get thrown around maybe too much, and I hope I'm not going to be doing that here. But culture is just really important in so many areas. Streetwear culture, music culture. Obviously ethnic culture. And being able to. That's always my thought process is how can I try to understand the culture of whatever it is, metal music, rock music, R&B, like where are the roots. Why is it the way it is? Why do they talk about the subject matter they talk about? And this literally goes for anything, brand identity with streetwear companies, the difference between, a Nike and a Vans, just bringing up a couple basic companies, but yeah, culture and identity, learning culture, surrounding yourself with it will 100% influence such cool, fresh ideas. Like, I've been listening to so many different types of music recently. It's been really crazy. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of EDM, and I've never liked EDM before in my life until like the last like year and a half. And I think the reason is because that had learned from so many other cultures that you find there's no place where there isn't a middle ground anymore. Like if you want to find EDM mixed with metal, you're going to find it. If you want to find EDM mixed with singer-songwriter, you're going to find it. Porter Robinson would probably be like a close one for that. Like it's crazy. So just trying to open your mind up to all that. It's so refreshing. It's so refreshing. And yeah, I wouldn't want life any other way than to just keep hearing new things.
Yeah, because if we keep hearing the same old stuff, then we don't get to like relate those songs to those other experiences. And we might not find, and then we just don't find things that we could potentially like in the future. I use myself as an example. When I was growing up, it was anything that had any sort of an unclean vocal. I was just like, nah, it's not for me. Didn't care for it. But the only thing that opened my mind to that was listening to Linkin Park whenever Chester Bennington would pull out something like that. But then I started listening to more of it. I started to understand it. But I'm like, oh, shoot, now I'm kind of seeing where this is coming from. I dove head first into it, and now it's like, if I listen to stuff, even my friends, my parents, my family are like, well, what are you going to see? And I say the name of the band, all of a sudden, does the band just go, ugh? Yeah, probably, because that's what I like. Well, I can't help myself, but there's so much more to it, and I know there's so much more to it. But seeing other, like, different types of styles as well, even within rock and metal, or even as my friends don't like the same kind of stuff I do, they listen to stuff that I really don't care for, but listening to it in a different light, being able to understand why they like it, why they pick up on that emotion, it allows me to just kind of enjoy the moment that they're having with that music, because I get to see the positive reaction they're having. It reminds me of the positive reaction I had to the music I like. And then we're just vibing, having a good time, and we're just having this utmost, absolutely incredible experience. And then when it comes to creative space, now I can pick up on certain things. I can see when other artists are putting these other things in their music, and I can finally understand why they're doing it. And it makes these songs so much more powerful because of how the emotion is being driven from one spot to the next, using all these different kinds of styles.
Yeah, for sure. There was a point in music for sure. Like all my early days touring, it just wasn't cool to like certain things. And I really feel, and I'm very thankful for this. So I'm not going to shame, the scene or human beings or whatever, but I'm very thankful that where we are today is that it's okay to like whatever you want to like, and that you're not going to get shamed for it or feel like you can't say it. Like it's almost cool to say that you like Justin Bieber now, but literally like 8 years ago or 5 to 8 years ago, like if you said that, like people would like razz you, you know what I mean? Yeah, like I guess that's really funny that you said that though. I really like what my first thing into liking rock music probably was Linkin Park, because I was really into like hip hop and R&B growing up. And like when Jay-Z did like the collab stuff with Linkin Park, and Linkin Park was coming up, like they had this cool, mishmash. I was so into that. I thought that was super hard, but then nothing like really like kept me going with that. Obviously, like Limp Bizkit's like early stuff was crazy as shit too. I liked some of the energy of that stuff. In 8th grade, I made like new friends. I made a whole new friend group essentially. Honestly, I think that like was a huge pivotal part in my life. I came from like a low income, like just me and my single mom, like family. And I was around like a lot of really like tough people. One of my best friends was a juggalo, and no hate on juggalos. Just kidding. But no, he really did listen to ICP a lot. But I was just surrounded by like a lot of people who had tough lives, like I had at the time. And then I got into band, like, school band, played trombone, baritone, all that. All my friends, my new friends I made came from like middle class families, and they all were on this new wave of music. I was still listening to like 50 Cent and Eminem and, Snoop Dogg and Chingy. Chingy was pretty cool. He's pretty cool. Anyways, so they got me into the Devil Wears Prada, August Burns Red, Miss May I, and it blew my mind. I didn't even know that shit existed. Like it blew my mind. And so like early Devil Wears Prada, back when they were like, they played like, that famous video of them, I'm sure, but like they played that Christian festival, and they're like playing outside, and they're like all super young. I don't know if you've seen that, but if you haven't, you got to go YouTube that shit. I don't know, maybe just look up like early Devil Wears Prada outside. I'm really good with keywords, by the way. Obviously, if you haven't noticed,
yeah,
outside Devil Wears Prada festival, young, you'll find them. It'll be sick, but it was crazy. It blew my mind, opened my mind to that. Yeah. So you just talked about the first time that you got into unclean vocals. I had to bring up my time because that was such a wild time in my life. So.
Oh, please bring up all that stuff too. I love hearing these experiences as well, and then sharing these experiences with each other, because then we get to know more about, especially from your perspective, where your musical background came from, where your mindset is, and how many of these different experiences you had. And now people can listen to Dead Lakes music and see, oh shit, maybe there was something in here that's a callback to maybe some early Devil Wears Prada stuff. Maybe a callback to literally Chingy back in 2002. You never know, but it could be.
You'll be seeing that getting recycled in the future with that. Be like, that's coming up, No, it's really funny. The Levi from Miss May I did like a lot of work with like our last release, like with helping with some of the assets and getting our visual stuff done. But it was just really wild to me when he got on the email thread, because like nobody was like, oh, this is Levi. I was like, oh my God, this is Levi from Miss May I. Like I figured it out myself. And it was crazy to me because I had only ever like uploaded one YouTube video, and it was a cover of a Miss May I song, like when I was in like high school or something like that. I can't remember, or middle school. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know when they came on the scene. Yeah, I must have been in high school. And that was the only thing I ever uploaded to YouTube in my whole life. And then he's on like this email thread, and I'm like, I was starstruck, bro. It was crazy, dude. It was crazy. But yeah, then time went on. I got into a bunch of other bands. And then I got stuck to not listening to any new music. And I was only listening to like post-hardcore from like the 2000s. Like Seosin, I named my dog Seosi after Seosin because I love Seosin was like my favorite band. And the list goes on of all the bands at that time, but that's like I was stuck in that era. I didn't listen to any new music. It was a really wild time in my life. But I'm still thankful for all that, but I'm glad that I have been able to accept that new music exists.
But just take a look at that too. One thing that we talked about earlier with being open to those different experiences. You experience what it was like to just listen to the same stuff over and over again and not break away from it. But now you've experienced kind of just being open to all these different kinds of music, and you get to call back on both of them. You know what both those experiences are like, and you get to enjoy life to the fullest around that concept. I mean,
no, it was
that's
cool.
awesome.
It was cool shit. I have a very cool parallel just because I love talking about basketball. It's like when I went without watching basketball for like 3 years, and then it was cool because in a way, like I was very sad that I did that, but it was cool because when I got back into basketball, like all these young stars that I had no idea existed, like I got to like go back and watch all their, highlights and really get to understand like why they were the players they are today and stuff. And I thought that shit was so exciting. And then same with music, like getting to go back and be like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot for living under this rock. Like this artist is incredible. And then I'm finding out their whole like discography, so sick.
That's pretty much what happened with me the first time I heard Architect's Holy Hell album. I'm like, oh my God, these guys been around for so long.
That's when you got into them?
I did not know Architects existed until I got a Facebook it was a Facebook ad for the Holy Hell album. I'm like, oh, I'll just take a look at this. Maybe because I was just starting out this whole entire thing. I was starting to do album reviews to see if that was going to be, something I could take on. And I was like, the second or third one I did was Holy Hell by Architects. It was something I never listened to my entire life. And that was one of the moments where I was like, holy shit. That was the moment I actually understood why Unclean Vocals were the way they were and how they drive so much emotion, because I listened to that album and I'm like, this is literally the band grieving Tom Searle's death through and through, all 5 stages from front to back. And you can hear it in Sam Carr's voice, like,
yeah,
what have I missed out on? And then it was starting to get into other stuff. And then it was listening to Motionless in White's Eternally Yours. And I'm just like, okay, there is no way I am not sold on this 100% right after this song. Like, I was just kind of sitting there like, I've missed out on this for so long. Yeah, time for me to basically see what I can do with my life around all this stuff and have some fun. And it opened up so many different horizons. I mean, if it wasn't for just listening to that stuff and just kind of taking it all in, there's no way we'd be talking to each other right now.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Life is crazy. And that's, you're a culmination of all your experiences. And it's you have to, I don't know. I believe in like energy and things happening for a reason in a way, you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to, I think, to keep sanity in this world. But yeah, imagine if you would have never listened to the different trajectory of your life or what you'd be doing. Like that's crazy, man. And honestly, shouts out Architects, because that band is insane. Like I know Jimmy said this on his interview with you too, and neither me or him really listen to like heavy music or like too many unclean vocal things, but I will say that Architects is definitely like one of the few that make the cut for me personally, just because it's so unique. It's such a fresh take. And to me, it just, I don't know, like some of the bands I've mentioned today for sure, like Kublai Khan as well, like with what they did with their sound. There's just some artists that are just so undeniably fresh and such a unique take that it's just like, okay, 100%, this is the authentic like thing that spoke to them and they really found their sound. Like, I don't know, man, that Architects blows me away as a band, to be honest. And Sam Carter's blows me away as a vocalist. Like, incredible.
So yeah, hearing that, like, that blew me the first time I heard it, but when it comes to like a live band setting, I'll still never forget this. I had no idea who Ice Nine Kills was, and I went to go see him live. And it was 2 days after Halloween. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell this band's got going on. Let's just see what happens. And then seeing it, it was one of those moments where I thought, I've just witnessed a band that's easily going to be one of my favorite bands of all time. And I've only known about them for like an hour and a half at this point.
Yeah, and you saw them at the right
Just
time too, like seeing them right around Halloween. Like that's pretty insane for like the theatrical, like heavy band that they are. Like that is their thing, you know. It's like riding the Polar Express on Christmas Day and being like, "Oh shit, this is the Polar Express."
yeah, it was absolutely something that just stands on my mind. It's just like when it comes to music, there's a culmination of all those experiences. And then being a part of that and just listening to that and just understanding that and just taking it all in. What it allows me to do is like when I'm listening to other bands or bands I have no idea who they are, allows me to be open to the experience and allows me to take a listen to their songs. If it's like, okay, I don't know the song's going, I can pick up on the flow, I can pick up the emotion, I can pick up on the meaning, and I can relate to a lot of these other experiences I've had because I put myself in those situations, whether it's musically or in real life, and whether it's something where I take a certain meaning of a song and you take a certain meaning of a song, the emotion is still going to be the same, but it's just the experience are going to be different, but we're going to relate to it in such a way where we could like the exact same song for two very different reasons.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. And I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of this story. So I wasn't like super into like I was into like very sceney music in high school. And then I think I can't remember, but Parkway Drive played Warped Tour one year, and they were like a little like at the time they were heavy for me, and I saw them live, and they're all wearing like board shorts and flip flops and like unbuttoned like button up shirts and shit like that. Like they had the Australia vibe like hard down, and I was like, oh shit, like I understand this now. I was watching their set, and I was literally like, this is not supposed to be happening right now. Like, this is my favorite band. I don't like this is happening in the moment. And it's because like I really understand the band as a whole because I get to like experience this experience where I see them in this way. And I'm like, whoa, like everything kind of makes more sense to me. Like heavy music doesn't just have to be like these really upset, depressed people that are all like that. Like the emotion of the music isn't always the persona of the people. It's an expression that and it's the way that they get it out, right? You know? And man, that blew me away. And definitely like it was because of that experience I was able to experience Parkway Drive in the way that I did. Whereas before I didn't see them in that way. And I was able to listen to the music and be like, holy fuck, like how like it's so weird when you can listen to a song, see the artist live, go back and listen to it and have a totally different experience where you're like, oh my God, like how did I not hear it like this before? Like, I don't know what it was, but that's some of that magic that I'm talking about, like some really crazy stuff where it's like, dude, I don't understand how some things work in life because I listened to this song and I did not feel this way. And then I saw them live and I listened to that same song and I'm like, this is a masterpiece. What the heck? Yeah, that's just crazy.
It's all about the magic of it, about the magic of music, and I mean we gotta talk about the magic of your music as well. Like I always want to talk about, I went deep into Stamina, absolutely love the song, so I want to talk about it, talk about the magic that's behind Stamina as well from Dead Lakes because I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it now, wouldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take that. Hell yeah, that's sick.
All right, well, because I just kind of was talking about, we were alluding to like some like the meanings of the songs and whatnot. I always love, like I said, to look at the meanings of the songs and figure out where it comes from me. But I also like to ask you, like, when you're writing the song, what was the inspiration behind it? What were you talking about during that song? What were the themes behind it and the meaning behind it? Just because I always like to see where, like, me picking up on some things, where I got to pick up on them. On top of that, how the emotion all travels in together and really connects not only the art with the artist, but also the artist and the song with the fans. So when it came to Stamina, what was your inspiration behind the meaning of the song?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a little wild. But my life the last couple of years has been a little crazy. I'm currently like separating from a partner I'd been with for like 8 years. And also, yeah, just a whole lot of things that like maybe in like we'll definitely do another one of these, but maybe in like a future thing we can dive a little deeper. But essentially, the song was just written about uh the confusing feelings you get from somebody where like you you like them, but you feel like you could get hurt here or something like that, and that you shouldn't like them, and so you want to kind of run away, or things can't be the way that you want them to be, so it's tough to it's tough to wake up each day and not have them be the ideal way that we see things in our head, because I know that we all do that, you know. And honestly, with like a lot of music, I try to pull from a lot of different experiences to maybe get a message across, I guess. So yeah, so Stamina basically is about tough relationships and then not being what you want them to be, and that guard you put up uh to not get hurt, you know? And I don't know, I try to keep things fairly vague, so it's not so
Yeah.
much about me but about the emotion, and try to connect with people through that. And I hope that that's what people get out of it, or I hope that they get something out of it for themselves that revolves around some healing, I guess.
Well, that's why it's like perfect to not go too specific. So it's, unless you went through that situation, you're not going to relate to it, or go super vague to the point where we are basically on this like mindful, vision quest journey to try and figure out what the song meaning is for us. And we're just lost in the emotion of it. Like when it came down to it, when I was listening to it, I thought you perfectly told that line of knowing where the emotion was, but not being too specific to like really alienate somebody from really understanding what it is unless they went through. Because myself listening to it, I kind of had a little bit of the same idea, but a little bit of a different light, because I thought about like there's like a person living in your head rent free, mostly in a romantic space that either you had or no longer have, or someone that you just could like had never had or can't have. And we all know that feeling of just kind of like laying in bed at night and the only thing on your mind is like that one specific person that we want to be with more than anything in the world. And it could be for the positive aspects of it or the negative aspects of it. We remember the good times, the bad, and wonder if it's this feeling of suspended reality and if it will ever end, because we think of them late at night and we know that when we wake up, they're not going to be there in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty accurately hit that on the head. I just like didn't want to dive in too much, but yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, the first lines of the song, do you remember times when it was easier, Stamina needed you? It's also just about like, that honeymoon phase of a relationship, or the easygoing parts of the relationship when it's just easy, and everything just feels like it's like you're walking on clouds, like you don't work a 9 to 5 and your feet don't hurt every day. You're just like you're living in a dream world. And yeah, it definitely is about that. Trying to figure out the complexities of life. I think that this is kind of public knowledge, but when we were doing interviews for the last like EP cycle or whatever, like I had mentioned that I was polyamorous or whatever at the time. So that the whole experiences from that time where I mentioned those things and was experiencing those feelings, and the relationships that ensued from there up until now. That's kind of what this record is like trying to, when you live with people too, like, and you have to healthily express yourself or whatever, like honestly, this record was kind of my outlet to be able to vocalize and get out what I was feeling, so you definitely nailed everything on the head there. And yeah, it's wild. I'm excited for you to hear like the whole record and be able to just put all the little pieces together and stuff. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'll listen to, when it comes out. I'll listen to the whole record and do exactly what I did to Stamina to every single song, and I will absolutely love doing it. But what you brought up, like kind of opening up the song as well, kind of with that feeling of like you're feeling positive, you're in the clouds, you not feel like you don't have to work that 9 to 5. It's kind of like that beginning stage of a relationship or the honeymoon phase where I remember listening to this from good old fluffy Gabriel Iglesias. It's like if you're running for the bus and the bus passes you, you're like, oh, there'll be another. It's like that kind of positive feeling.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
like listening to your vocals and then I'm not talking about things, I'm talking about like the tone. It was used more of this like what I thought was like a fuller but breathy kind of style that worked really well alongside like the electronic soundscapes in the back to create this feeling of a positive dreamscape, because that tone was the key to making everything work to open up the song. It makes us feel like we're floating in the clouds, positively thinking about that person that we want to be with and that we're yearning for the most. It's just, it puts you in that like just, everything is fine and I'm just
Yeah.
happy kind of phase.
Yeah, 1000%, man. That's really cool that you said that. I know that is definitely the feeling. There was a few months of my life that felt like that every day, and it was really, really cool. And like that's how the song came about, was being able to feel that way, and then with the very same people feel a whole different way. And it's wild, man. But yeah, there's nothing quite like that feeling where like, something bad might happen to you that day, but just because the state of your overall life, you're like, we're chilling, dude. We're chilling. I love that. Yeah.
No,
I also got to shout out Sam, the guy who produced the singles. We're not a big enough band that I don't mind alluding to the fact that we're going to release a full record. We're going to release a full record. It's coming out soon. But Sam produced the whole thing. He's from Toronto. He's incredible. I give shouts out to him. I've worked with so many incredible vocal like producers, and Sam personally, and no disrespect to anybody I've worked with at all, because I've worked with crazy people, but Sam, in my opinion, like brought out the best in me and made me feel really comfortable. I'm a very anxious person, so being comfortable is the only way that I can even like really be receptive to notes that people have, like, and by that I mean like be able to not be so anxious that I'm not just like, okay, let's just do another take and see how it goes. Like, I felt comfortable enough in that environment to where I was able to just really like vibe with him and take whatever he was saying and actually like apply it and stuff. And it felt incredible. So shouts out Sam.
Oh, I mean, I can keep going because your vocal set on this was just something that was completely out of this world and so well done. I couldn't, like, just for the whole concept of the song and really driving through it, like that production, how you guys put it all together, how your vocal tone was through every part. I mean, my God, dude, I don't know how you did it, but it was fantastic because even after like that breathy like first part, like when you open it up, all of a sudden it's like the next verse comes in and the vocals kind of became a little more heavily deep, a little overproduced to create this opposite feeling of what you opened up with that breathier tone. And you're feeling those darker emotions and some of those dreams really come through here as the person we're thinking of isn't always being brought for the most positive vibe. So you're kind of getting that dichotomy to happen. And I thought this was fantastic. Honestly, it's like you're seeing both sides in that suspended reality in the vocal tone. I'm like, my God.
Thank you for saying that. Like, honestly, like while we were recording this vocal, I was still going through like quite a lot of things. Like, yeah, like when we were recording the record. And so I don't know, there is, there's a lot of good stuff that can come from pain in that way, and I really did feel that, like the next vocals are, I remember every morning when I wake up, I feel the space you take up. Like, I remember darkness got me trapped in my head feeling lonely. Like it is that, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm able to tap into both because it was such a short amount of time that both had happened, that it was like, woo, wow, what a roller coaster. But I could tap into both those emotions pretty easy right now. So,
and none of that, but when you went into that next following part as well, like, I remember when I wake up and then just keep going in there, it's like, again, your vocal, it quickened the pace of it, but they kept them in this like slightly higher register to keep bringing more of the energy of the song. We're coming kind of back to this reality from that dreamscape to kind of really realize what's going on at that moment. And I got to read my notes here because your vocal range on this was on par with guys like James from Thousand Below, with Matt McAndrew from Rain City Drive, and Matt Flood from Caskets. It works so well with the backing to try and transition from that dreamscape back to reality. The range, I'm just like, when it comes to anything within post-hardcore, anything around there, your vocal range was just up there with those guys that are just top-notch in the scene. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was just amazed at how well this vocal range you had from one part to the next, how it could vastly differ, but how it could stand out so well and flow so incredibly through the entire song, through that story, that you weren't missing out on any emotion. You were fully feeling it every step of the way through.
No, I really am humbled right now. I really appreciate that more than you know. Like I said, I'm just a guy that works like a normal job, just like anybody else. And it just, I don't know, anytime anybody's ever said anything like that to me, it just really, that imposter syndrome just gets smacked in the face. And I feel like really good, but thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, I remember when Thousand Below told us like how into us they were, and I was just like so naive and young, and I was like, I don't believe these guys. Like, what is the joke here? Like, are they doing like a TikTok series where they like gas up a band just to like, crush them? I couldn't believe it. So thank you. That what you just said really reminded me of like that moment. So I appreciate you saying that. I've always growing up in the scene and being a fan of bands, like hopefully most people that are in the scene did grow up that way. It feels more authentic, I suppose. Like, it's really weird when when you know, like being on an interview like this, like all these sort of things, it blows my mind because I watched the same sort of stuff with all my favorite bands like growing up. And yeah, I always act way out of pocket because I really don't know. I just feel so humbled. Like I don't know how else to be. So thank you so much for real.
Oh, you're welcome. And just the genuine reaction coming from you just speaks volumes of the fact that, you know, you're putting your heart and soul into this and how much you truly care about everything that you're doing around here. And it's just the reception behind it is being so positive just because this is like one fantastic song. I go through songs consistently for this podcast. Just every hour saying it's like, okay, you got new music coming out. Let's go through the whole entire thing. Let's really get an understanding of it. This song, when I was going through with Stamina, it was one of the easiest songs for me to go through, but it wasn't because, oh, it's just an easy song to listen to. No, it's just because the flow of it, the emotion of it, for me to write down my thoughts and for me to actually get in that right headspace for it, the way that the instrumentals were put together, the way the vocal tone differs from each spot, the way the pacing differs, you get to feel that emotion so clearly and thoughtfully through where you're just flowing out of it. It just brings so much more emotion out of you, where you just get a fuller understanding of certain things that you've gone through if it's around a person that you can't get out of your head, whether it's for the positive or the negative. Because let's be honest, we have all been there at some point in life, whether it's, you know, for the utmost positive where you're like happy as all hell with that person. If something went wrong, you're like, well, you know, it's okay. Everything's going right. But then there's also those times where it's just, you're kind of laying in bed and you're wondering, what is life? What did I do wrong? You're wondering if, you know, if you can ever find someone like that again. In this song, you felt both of those flows, and then you felt going back to reality to the point where, yeah, that person might not be around you anymore. They might, you know, be around in life, but they might not be in your life anymore. And you're thinking about them so much, but in the morning, they're just not going to be there when you wake up. So what are you going to do about it? You got to have that stamina to keep moving forward, to keep going on, and to find that thing in life that's going to make you happier. Whether it's going to be find that person that's going to make you the happiest, whether it's going to be find that thing that's going to make you the most fulfilled and happy as all hell in life, and to enjoy those experiences, because we only get one shot in life. Why are we going to waste it? You can't waste it. Like the emotion that just came pouring out of me while listening to this song, it was so easy to put down my thoughts, but it didn't take, it took some time because I just couldn't stop typing. I'm like, I can't stop.
Yeah,
this
I
is
love
nuts.
that. That's so cute. There's another song on the record that kind of speaks to that same thing, that I'm really excited for you to hear. I think you'll like that one. But it basically speaks to that same thing too. Like I don't know, sometimes when you get caught up in those relationships too, like, um, you don't realize in a way, like you do have one life, you have one opportunity to capture or let it slip. No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real though. So like, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of days where I woke up and it was like I woke up in like a woe is me, already like down. Like, what's the point of living today? What's the point of tomorrow? Like I was already setting myself up for failure. But I don't know. It's cool because my mind has shifted to like, oh, every day provides like a new opportunity. Like if somebody leaves your life, well, dude, now you got this free time. What are you gonna do with it? Like, it's kind of cool because, you know, sometimes there's a lot of uncertainty in life when you go through those things and you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like because it's going to be brand new to you. You've never experienced life without this person really, or you had like, you've been in such a long rut that, that like tomorrow's newness can be like such a huge opportunity to switch everything around and to, I don't know, it's really cool. And I think everybody, it's weird, you know, like I think a lot of people have gone through that. I have ADHD and my mental's always like, you know, all over the place. But I think everybody gets stuck in that rut where they're like, man, I don't think I could see life differently, or I don't think I can wake up tomorrow and things be different. And it's so cool and refreshing when you wake up you know, a day where there's some uncertainty and you're like, whoa, like I can go out by myself and go get like an acai bowl and go sit by the water and just vibe and chill and like find so much peace in that. Or like I can do new things I've never done before. And it's so exhilarating. Like I got into reading after I got out of these relationships, and it was just so cool, man. Like I really thought, I was really scared of what like the future was going to be like. And as much as I love those people, and it's not like, oh, my life is so much better because you're not in it. It's like, wow, I needed this to get to a mental state for myself where I could be like, whoa, everything's going to be fine. Like, no matter what happens, no matter if this person that's in my life now is out tomorrow, there's going to be an opportunity for me to make it a positive thing and to have a positive experience. So you do need to have stamina to do that. You do need to have wake up with any bit of motivation to make it a positive day, because there's plenty of days where I had an opportunity that I had already the day before, like, told myself it's not going to be good, you know? And you do, yeah, it's like after getting some rest from all the, you know, like traumatic things that people go through, the traumatic experiences I went through, and traumatic things I'm sure the people that I was surrounded by also went through. You know, after you heal from those things, you're like, whoa, okay, I woke up with energy today. I woke up with a different mindset. This is fresh. This is cool. Like, whoa, I've got the stamina to go out and do something new and to make today better than yesterday was, you know? It's crazy.
It's crazy, but just take a look at what you went through, the positive mindset that you gained from it, and how that message is going to come out in this record, to the point where we can all have those moments in time where things are not going well. We can all have those moments in time where, you know, use breakup as example, or people leaving your life. It's just like, yeah, it sucks, but if you find a way to make every other day, if you make every day positive, at least in one aspect of it, you can turn around your mindset completely, and then you can take a look and enjoy the small things in life, whether it's, you know, just going hanging out by the water, just getting some fresh air, whether it's just going for a walk, whether it's just, hey, maybe you're grabbing a beer with a friend that you haven't seen in a while. Just the small little things in life that seem so insignificant at times, but then you look back in life and you think, what about some of those incredible times that you had? Sometimes they start out from just the absolute smallest thing. When you were a kid, some of the best times you ever had in your life was maybe just going by your friend's house and just something random happened. You put yourself in that position. You force yourself to kind of put yourself in a chance of, today's going to be a good day. Today will be better. You have that stamina and it works.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's crazy how powerful the mind is, because you can set yourself up for success or set yourself up for failure. You know, like you have the tools to put yourself into a situation where something positive could happen. And you can also use your mind to put yourself into a situation where you're not even allowing the opportunity. Like, the opportunity is going to come, but you're not even going to look at that opportunity as an opportunity. To bring this back to a cool, modern, relevant thing, I've been binging this show, White Lotus, or whatever it's called. I think that's what it's called. It's on HBO. It's a pretty popular show right now, but there's a scene that I was watching last night that you kind of reminded me of, and what we've been talking about reminded me of. And the girl says something to the effect of, like, she's like I think they're in Italy. Yeah, they're in Italy, and everything's just beautiful around them or whatever. And she's telling this guy, like, essentially, like, what's the point, you know, like, of life, or when something exciting can happen, or like why can't I be essentially excited? And the guy is basically like, everything that you need to be excited about is literally right in front of your eyes right now. And it's really crazy how that works, because, like, the same things that you can just look over and, you know, say, woe is me, or like your environment around you, you could all, like, that's all that needs to change is right here, is your mind and your perspective on your situation. Like, I'm low income. I work paycheck to paycheck, literally. I'm not afraid to admit that. But and I used to, like, and I was depressed about it for quite a while, but you know, I changed my mindset around it. And because it's like, what's the point if, like, maybe this is my whole life, or like, this is how this shit's going to go, you know? And if so, do I want to live my whole life, like, doing a woe is me, or feeling bad about the fact that these are my circumstances? Or do I want to start being happy today? You know, like, I don't know. I can literally look out my window right now, and, like, there's big, beautiful trees at my apartment complex. You know, that I've lived in apartment complexes where, you know, it's just scary city streets right outside and stuff like that. You know, so it is. I don't know. There's always an opportunity to see things differently, and the main thing that you have to work with is your mind. You know.
And one of the easiest ways to start changing that is Zombieland rule number 32. Enjoy the little things.
Yes, good reference, dude. When that movie came out, that was like dude, I love that movie. That's so cool. I'm so glad you said that.
Dude, I can't believe I finally got to put a Zombieland reference in this podcast after like a year and a half, because I would always drop that, and I have not dropped that in almost a year and a half, and I'm like,
yes, that's so sick, dude. Dude, this is a moment right now. That's pumped up.
So this is such a positive moment. We're talking about all these crazy ideas around on this podcast. We're talking about these crazy stories. We're talking about putting yourself in the position to have those incredible moments. We're talking about, just different relationships and how they go into the song. Sam, we're talking about just being positive. And then we throw out a Zombieland reference. I mean, come on.
Icing on the fucking cake, people.
Icing on the fucking cake. Well,
seriously though, that movie is so good.
So good. But before we close this out, though, I got one more thing I got to ask, and it's, so we're going to 2023. You did mention a new record coming out at some point in 2023. You guys said you already plan on trying to get out on the road at some point. I got to ask, is there going to be a chance I'm able to see you perform live in 2023? Because I really, really want to see this. Like, I got to see this. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's sick. Go Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you guys have Giannis. You guys are lucky. Yeah, I'm the nearest team to me is Portland. But yes, short answer is yes, you will see us next year. If you don't, you will never see us because we won't be a band for any reason. We're not hitting Milwaukee in 2023. Like, we need to be on the road. We need to be doing stuff. So I'm going to put the positive energy out there and say it's 1000% happening. Yeah. And, there will be new tunes shortly and a full record in March. I don't mind saying that. So that's happening.
All right, now you're making me even more excited because I'm gonna get more new music from you guys. This is gonna be awesome. Hey, seeing you guys in 2023. Holy shit! But also, if for some reason, because I know logistics that sometimes, maybe it just doesn't make it out to Milwaukee. I'll put it this way: I am not one that is afraid to travel to random places on weekdays, because what am I going to remember a week later? Am I going to remember getting enough sleep to go to work in the morning, or am I going to remember going to a show? So if you guys are we're going to be in Madison, Wisconsin, fuck yeah. You guys are we're going to play up north in Green Bay, fuck yeah. Oh, we have to go down to Chicago, I'm there.
Dude, hell yeah. I appreciate you saying that, dude. It'd be so great to link up in person too. So hit me up and say what's up, and we're going to get there. We're going to come to Milwaukee. It's going to happen.
Oh, it'll happen. So, Sammy, as we bring this podcast to conclusion, one thing I'd like to do is give my chance, which is you in this case, to say whatever you want to say, plug whatever you want to plug, promote whatever you want to promote at the end of the podcast. So the floor is yours.
Cool. Yeah. I just want to shout out Kevin for, having me on here and, including the band. It always feels cool. Like when somebody that's had, my cooler friends on here, like we get to be get to have that same opportunity. It feels awesome. So shout out Kevin, shout out Jessica, from Charlottetown. She's awesome. And really, yeah, just check out our new music coming out early next year. We're still an up-and-coming band. Hit us up. You can DM us on Instagram. You can do whatever, and we're going to respond. Like, we're just homies. We're just hanging out. We're real people. And I hope that we get to connect with everybody out there in 2023. Like, that's our dream. We're everyday people, just really excited to get out there and meet other people. So thank you guys for even caring at all. It really means the world.
And with that being said, now it's time for this podcast with 3 very specific things. First things first, there is new music coming out from Dead Lakes in 2023. Holy crap. You're going to get a chance to see him perform live in 2023. Oh my God. How do we make sure we know about all this stuff and get all this stuff? Well, you're going to want to follow them on all their social media platforms. I mean, hey, you can DM them and they're going to respond because we're homies like that, That's how it works. You also want to watch other music videos. You're going to want to stream their music, download, buy their music, buy their merch, buy their concert tickets, literally support them in any way. So instead of having to search all this stuff up yourself, let me do the work for you. Description of the podcast, say find Dead Lakes online. There's going to be links and labels for their social media platforms where you can stream the music, where you can buy the music, download the music, buy some merch, where you can get their tickets to go see them live and support them in any way. Everything's going to be down there for you. So all you got to do is click the link, follow, click share, click play, click subscribe, click buy, all that stuff. I'm doing all the hard work searching for you.
Yeah, just come on.
All right, so now it's time for number 2. And this is something that I like to do with guests I have in the podcast when I get as a way to say, 1, thank you for being on the podcast. And secondly, this was awesome. And I want to continue to support the band any way I can. And you've absolutely hit this. And I'm making sure this happens at some point. I have tried making it happen with Benny, but the last show I was at, I completely busted my leg, so I kind of had to leave. I tried doing with James, but I could not find James after the show, so they're still going to get this as their promise, and you're going to get this as well. So this is not an if.
Game show, baby. Let's go.
This is not an if. If implies this might not happen. This is a when.
It's a win.
When implies this is going to happen. Day and time, we just don't know yet. But when I get to see you perform live for the first time, I am going to find you, sir. And my promise to you is this. First round's on me.
Okay, fuck yeah. That sounds good to me. Like Jimmy said, have you ever had a green tea shot before?
I still haven't.
Cool. Well, it's a race between me and Jimmy to see who's going to get that first with you. I want that first, baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is going to be a first. We're going to make this happen. This is going to be a race. This is going to be awesome. So as we bring this podcast to conclusion, I cannot end this by saying goodbye for a number of reasons. Number one, man, I made you that promise and I am going to uphold that promise. Number two, my God, this is not the only time I ever want to have you on the podcast. This was so much fun. I want to have you on in the future. I would love to do this again with you because this was so cool, man. And
good shit, Kevin, dude. I would love to do this again myself.
Yes. So can we say that this is goodbye? No, that's way too final. This is, I will see you later.
I'll see you later. Chord Progression Podcast. That's a new tagline.
Yeah, it is. Well, folks, that's my interview with somebody from the band Dead Lakes. Once again, they have brand new music coming out in early 2023. I think somebody said March, which is pretty dang cool. So you're not going to want to miss out on any of it. Stamina is such a great track. You're going to want to keep listening to it. I mean, if you like 1,000 Below, Dayseeker, Caskets, Holding Absence, Rain City Drive, you're going to want to listen to some of this stuff. So go and check it out. Go and follow them online. Make sure you follow them on all the social media platforms. Watch their YouTube videos. Be sure to listen to their music. Get ready for the new album to drop. I think he said March. Yeah, I think he said March. So go and do that. All the links are in the description of the podcast for you. So you can follow them online. You can watch their videos. At that point as well, you can also do a couple other things like buy tickets to an upcoming show when they announce their next tour. And also buy some merch as well to support the band. Support these guys. Come on, you know you want to. Also, make sure you follow along with the Chord Progression Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for your viewing pleasure. You can watch every single podcast on YouTube where you listen. Spotify Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon, and wherever else we are at. Thank you, Brit Media, for helping us out with that. Also, if you're subscribed to the podcast or just subscribing now, a gigantic thank you to you. It is such a huge help that you guys keep doing this stuff and helping us out. If you're not subscribed, you're like, I don't want to subscribe, please reconsider. Please, please, please. Otherwise, thank you very much for, watching anyway. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you, Phoenix Fitness. Remember, 20% off and, 20% off. I almost said free shipping, but I know it's just 20% off. Use code CPP20 at phoenixfitness.com or fnxfit.com. Link description of the podcast. Thank you so much, Sammy, for being on the podcast. The energy was awesome. The idea, the concept of the conversation was fantastic. I mean, I feel like I literally just made a great friend off of this podcast. And I can't wait to see you play live. So, hopefully, maybe it's with 1,000 Below as well. We'll see what happens. And I get that green tea shot with you and James at the exact same time. Thank you, Jessica from Sharp Tone, once again, for helping connect us. You are awesome. You are fantastic. Thank you for all your help with this. I really appreciate it. Thank you once again, Summy. Can't wait to do another one of these with you. And can't wait to see you perform live for the first time. Everyone out there, when Dead Lakes is out on the road, make sure you see him perform live too. So on that note, that's going to be it for you guys. Thank you for watching to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one with a big, healthy, and hearty see ya! Yeah!